And people really like small iPhones. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the latest version of the mini iPhone. From the guys that brought you the mini iPhone 7 Plus, this thing was pretty cool, honestly. They have a new version that's mimicking the iPhone XS. And once again, a trip to the counterfeit Apple store. Do people actually buy these? They get so many views. People like small things. So they put phone on the side, not to confuse this with Apple's iPhone. I think it's really adorable how they mimicked Apple's style here. The box is, even the box is super cute. So comparing that to the iPhone XS series, you can tell there's already a difference. This is which color? Oh, they have the nice packaging out here. And there it is. So this is, I think, the silver one. And over here we should have gold. Oh no, this is the multicolor, the Huawei edition. Pop this guy out and, oh, it is the gold one. Okay, so this feels a lot different than this version. It is quite chunky, quite hefty, but it does look like the iPhone XS on the back. And I think that's a glass cover actually. So let's compare it to the real deal here, size-wise. And the finishes are fairly close. Like this has a very similar rose gold look. That's adorable. But man, that is quite the chunker. So compared to the old version here, you can tell that it ballooned in size. They did switch a lot of things around here, and oh, what's that? USB-C on the bottom. That's how you know things are getting serious here. More speaker grill ports. The antenna bands now do mimic that of the iPhone XS series. This one was definitely more of the 7 Plus. And a single camera on the back. This one pretended to have two. This one now has one. So at least it's not pretending to be something it's not. And yeah. Twice as thick as the iPhone XS, but definitely smaller overall size, so you can't quite fit it sideways. And on the front, we have a very tiny speaker port. The camera is not placed in the same place as the iPhone, but looks pretty good. No home button like the old version, so to them, that's already an upgrade, I guess. It's a 3-inch display versus the old 2.5. Let's go ahead and get that booted up. They have a very tiny screen protector over here. Look at that, with the notch cut out and all, even though it's not real. That's adorable. I actually really want to apply that to say I've applied the world's smallest screen protector. Here it is. And it's glass. How cool is that? All right, looks like garbage though. It doesn't fit perfectly. While that's charging, let's take a look at the Huawei edition, or seemingly Huawei edition. It's got this multicolor shift on the back, like a lot of the Asian brands like to do. Pretty cool. On a small phone like this, very cool looking, like anodized titanium. Does have a slightly bigger footprint than the old one, but not terribly so. I'd say it's an iPhone XS Max, iPhone mini. Also, this does come with a dual SIM card slot. That could explain some of the thickness. So no tap to wake, already biggest error if you're trying to clone it. It does have somewhat Apple-looking icons from the get-go here. Similar enough to make you think, that's kind of there. Actually quite responsive. Okay, so on the old version, the keyboard was very, very hard to use. This one is more spaced out. I assume a little bit more comfortable. So I just spent a couple hours with this mini iPhone XS, and I gotta tell you, I like it a lot more now. So I've set it up to feel just like an iOS 13 device, same icons, same backgrounds, just overall same style. Even the way that the iPhone X works, it's amazing. So what blew me away is the optimization this device has. For a 3-inch display, everything is stacked better compared to the old one where the keyboard didn't even sit right. This one is way, way better, and it's fast. This has 2 gigabytes of RAM, and it really, really shows. So we'll do a little comparison here to the XS Max. Now, starting on the lock screen, when you lock this device, we have a very similar look here, and these toggles now work courtesy of some iPhone style skins on the Play Store. The camera launcher works as well, and you swipe up to unlock. So just like the real deal here. And the icons are all styled after iOS 13, which is cool. It's very, very fluid. You do have Spotlight Search here as well. As you can see, it mimics pretty much everything. And then over here we have the widgets page. Pretty dang nice. So my camera has a hard time picking it up, but it looks good. It's not all the way down. Maybe future versions could do that. But for the price, this thing blew me away, and I'll show you why here in a second. So we have a control center, and in the control center we have 3D touch-like toggles here. So we can toggle those. and they do work the same way as iOS. And from here, you can disable system settings, of course, styled after iOS. Now, next up, let's see 3D Touch. So hold and let go, and you do have the Android equivalent of 3D Touch here for different apps. Now, I also installed some iPhone 10-like gestures. So hold, and you get into the app switcher here, and a quick swipe to go back. So if I jump into an app here, and then I swipe up, I can go back. You can swipe back like this. So you do have that back swipe just like iOS. So it feels like an iPhone. This thing seriously feels like a tiny little iPhone XS Max. Kind of looks like it too. Well, this color over here. And I think that this skin is perfect on it. So let's run some apps. Let me show you what it actually looks like. It's honestly so funny on a 3-inch display. So in Spotify has its own very tiny interface here, but it works. Everything works, which is amazing. By the way, the speaker here, let's hear that bad boy. It also blows me away that there's USB-C on this thing. Doesn't sound terrible. Better than the last one for sure. Instagram, for example, you get this tiny little interface. It's so adorable. Look at that. Even YouTube is optimized pretty nicely for it. I mean, everything in Android pretty much compresses to the screen size you're using. It works perfectly, all the controls. And let's do some gaming here. So with Asphalt 9, this one actually works surprisingly well. It's just to give you a scope here. This thing is tiny, but it runs some of the best and biggest games in the Play Store. The touch accuracy is fairly well. Sometimes you have to press just a little bit higher on the very tiny options. Okay, so it's a little laggy, but this is Asphalt 9, mind you. This is meant for the newest or at least somewhat capable Android devices. And hey, it does work. So the older the app, I guess it will work. But just as a proof of concept, you can see what it is capable of doing. Frame rate is not that good though. The 2 GB of RAM actually does a lot, jumping between apps. Like I can jump back into Asphalt after this one and have it load up pretty much right away. So it will just about run anything that you throw at it. We're gonna do a Geekbench here in a moment. But yeah, I mean, this is all coming from a tiny device that fits in the palm of your hand and can run the latest games. Not very well, but it can. And as you can see, once we got some 3D movement, it starts to struggle. It does run, at least you have the bragging rights for that one. All right, so let's close everything out here and get a Geekbench going. So this is what we got inside, the SoYes 10S, Android 6.0, and this is a new one. This processor is actually better than everything they've put in the clones. So when I say it's a better phone, it really is. I mean, the specs back it up. Okay, and look at that, not so bad. Actually 50% better than the iPhone 11 clone, I'd say. And compared to the real one, you know, quite a difference there. But for a device that's worth around, I think between $60 to $80, depending on where you buy it, not bad at all. It's the 2 GB of RAM that's really holding up this entire OS here. And yes, it indeed does have it. And $35,000 versus Apple's $231,000. So again, not too bad. I mean, definitely could be worse. Okay, so as far as using it, definitely software makes a big difference here. What you get out of the box isn't that great. If you install all of the launchers, then you're gonna have a much better time here. Oh, and of course you can get Apple Music on Android now, so that's cool. All right, let's go ahead and check out that camera. Let's see if the precious little sugar glider likes the iPhone. He's wary. So this is my cameraman's pet. I had a lot of people asking me about it in the last video, and yeah, he doesn't seem to like this phone too much. The camera doesn't have any autofocus whatsoever. Terrible colors. As soon as it gets a little bit dark, just washes out completely. And oh, he's taking to it. Oh my gosh, he's adorable. All right, so camera in this environment does not look very good. Really taking a liking to this, and the battery doesn't seem too bad. I did drain it about a quarter here, playing some PlayerUnknown, Asphalt, doing all the tests. Considerably, you know, much chunkier, so you get some more room in there. I'm assuming like a 5 megapixel shooter, if even. All right, so there it is. It really washed out. No dynamic range whatsoever. And oh, you can zoom. There's digital zoom. And yeah, it's just about as far as the function goes for video. Let's do some selfie camera. Okay, so they definitely fixed the crop factor here. On the old one, it was really zoomed in. Not bad. Could be worse always, is what I like to say. All right, so camera quality, a solid D-. So when Apple said they'd be making a smaller phone, definitely not what I had in mind here. But yeah, that just about concludes my review here. The Yes 10s. It's a mini iPhone that's better and actually usable now. The keyboard is more spaced out. The 2 gigabytes of RAM basically carries this thing. It can do just about anything you ask, just on a very, very tiny screen here. I'd like to see a version with all screen on the front. That one I definitely pay like 100 plus for. I guess I'd recommend it for a kid if you want to buy it as a toy, set it up like this iPhone. Great learning experience. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.